And so I just asked him, I said, don't people die from this? I thought I saw that on like a headline somewhere. And he just looked at me and he said, yes, they do. I woke up and just like any other normal day, except it was a snow day for my kids. And I woke up and was just getting chores done around the house when I noticed that my left arm felt really sore. And over about 2 hours, it progressed from just really sore to just being completely debilitating. The pain was excruciating in my arm, but the strangest thing is it looked perfectly fine. So at that point, I just decided I had a low-grade fever. I need to go get this checked because I'd never been in this much pain. And I went and, they checked me to see if I had a broken bone, and I knew I didn't, but the pain was so bad, and they could tell because it was just streaming, like tears were just streaming down my face. And they sent me home with some like muscle relaxers and painkillers and said, call us tomorrow. And I did my best to do that. And when I woke up the following morning, I had red lines that went from my wrist all the way up into my armpit. And as soon as I saw those red lines, I knew I'm in big, big trouble. I went in just really expecting a Z-Pack maybe and like go home. And so I got in there and immediately, Amy, I knew the seriousness of what had happened because before the doctor ever saw me, I had 2 nurses in the room putting in 2 different IVs, telling me I was going to be there for a couple days minimally, that it looked like a blood infection to them. And when the doctor came in to see me, he had no idea really what it was. And when he said, I'm going to come back and check in on you, give it about 40 minutes, let's let this antibiotic start working that they had put in my arm and the painkillers. When he came back, Amy, he said, how's your pain? And when I described the depth still of that pain, like that heavy duty painkiller took off the edge, but it didn't actually go away. And when he saw that, he said, I need to make a phone call. And I think that was probably the scariest time is when he came back from that phone call. He came into the room and he just looked at me with all seriousness and said, we've ordered an emergency transport for you by ambulance, and I need you to know there's an operating room waiting for you on the other end today with a team of doctors who are very good, but we believe that you have flesh-eating bacteria in your arm. And he said, I need you to understand that your arm may be severely disfigured if you get to keep it. And they had someone watching me every 10 minutes for a little less than 24 hours. And they finally said, we're not messing with this anymore. They told me to expect 6 to 9 surgeries. And the first surgery, I honestly don't remember how long it was. I just know that when I came out, that was one of those moments where when you wake up, you don't know if you're gonna wake up with an arm or what to expect. Or if, in my case, I didn't know if I'd wake up at all. And it was so freeing to know that God's in control. I'm not. No matter what I do, I can't make myself survive this if I'm not meant to. So when I woke up, I was excited that I had my arm still. And then I woke up and I thought, okay. And the most amazing thing, the most amazing news, doctors said they looked for over an hour and a half. They searched my arm. And I had flesh-eating bacteria. The test results were back. They call it flesh-eating because it eats things. But the most amazing thing, this bacteria did not eat one single cell. It ate nothing. It was in my arm, multiplying, creating pressure. That's what the pain was from. Toxic, that's what the red lines were from. But I believe it is God's miracle that it did not eat any cells. And they were just so concerned that I was going to have a meltdown about what this scar was going to look like, that the scar would be very ugly, or that my left arm, if they had to cut out any area that had been eaten by this disease, it would have left me severely disfigured. And emotionally, would I be okay with that? Would I be okay with this gnarly scar that's going to be really big and very noticeable to other people? They were so concerned about what I look at and just say, like, that is the world's way of describing beauty and describing something that's ugly. I actually never put any lotion or cream on my scar because to me, this scar is the most beautiful thing I've ever had. Prior to being saved, beauty is only skin deep. And we don't see things the way God sees things. And I look and say, this scar being that this experience happened to me after I've known Christ and have His Spirit in me, what I see is that beauty is love. And we see that beauty when we look and see God in Romans 8:28 telling us that He can make all things good for those who love Him. And in my experience, while this was not something I'd care to necessarily repeat or go through again, I see nothing but account after account of the beauty God has brought through my scar, so to speak, to the world.